Hi guys, and welcome to episode 7 of Cooking with Nat. So happy you're here again. This past Wednesday was St. Patrick's Day, so I thought I would make something pretty hearty and delicious. Normally people would be out and going to the parades and things like that, and they'd want to come home and warm up with something really hearty. Or, even though people can't really celebrate too much, they're going to be doing some celebrating at home, and they're going to want something to soak up all that celebration. So I'm making a Irish stew with a stout beer. So hope you guys like it. It's really simple. Another hearty meal coming up. We have delicious beef cubes from Lufa Farms that I've powdered with some flour, salt, and pepper. We have some beautiful slices of bacon, beautiful colored carrots, and some celery. You can use about 2 stalks of celery. I only use 1 because we all know how I feel about celery. Not a fan. And some delicious beef bone broth. I have some onions, some garlic, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, some frozen peas, and some potatoes. I put the potatoes in water for now because I did cut them a little while ago and I didn't want them to turn brown. But when I'm going to be putting them in the stew, obviously, I'll be removing them from the water. You can literally put anything again in this meal. You can put other types of parsnips and things like that. Anything you want will be really good. I am going to be using some tomato paste from Mutti, some delicious pink Himalayan salt from a Spice Affair, and the stout that I'm going to be using today is a local brewer here in the West Island of Montreal called Labrosse. We love them. They've been open for a couple years now, about 4 years, and we have been following their progression. They've grown exponentially, and they launched this delicious stout that I'm going to be using in my stew. So super simple ingredients, really hearty flavors, really going to soak up all that celebrating. Let's get to the stove. Okay guys, so now we're at the stove and I've already browned up my bacon and put it into another bowl. Same thing with my beef. I've browned them on all sides and I put it in the same bowl. We're gonna add them back in really quickly. So right now I've almost done cooking up my onions and my garlic. Now we're gonna add the frozen peas to this stew. Our beautiful carrots and celery. And we're going to cook them up a little bit. Pretty soon we're going to add the beer, and it's going to essentially pick up all these brown bits and help get them off the bottom of the pan. It's called deglazing. So we have our veggies. Again, another beautiful dish with colors. Here we go. I'm going to add my maybe a bit less than 1/4 cup of tomato paste from Mutti, as I mentioned earlier. Love their products. Tomatoes, the most versatile cooking ingredient in all kinds of dishes, international dishes, not just for Italian dishes. Once again, it's smelling super good. And I'm just gonna let that cook down a little bit. Just a little bit, and then I'm going to add my spices as well. So in my spices, I forgot to mention earlier, I have 2 bay leaves. I have about 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary and 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, both dried, and I've also added about 1 teaspoon or a little bit more of the porcini umami rub from Kanel Spices. So I put those herbs in, give them a quick mix. Cook, and I'm gonna start incorporating my potatoes as well. So I've had them in water, and I'm using this really cool ingredient by Joseph. It's basically just helps you scoop out anything to remove the liquid, and I like to use it when I have a big pot of pasta on the stove and I don't always have help lifting it. I just like to scoop directly from the pot and into whatever I'm cooking. It also saves you some of that starchy water that I often talk about. So we're gonna just put these in here without making too much of a mess. So this dish is another long and low dish. So it's going to be cooking for about 2 hours, simmering low. There we go. Potatoes are now in. They're blending up all the flavors. Okay, now we're gonna put in the stout. You can use any kind of dark beer that you want, or if you don't want to use beer, you can add more chicken stock, a little bit of red wine, or no wine at all. You can even add, for a little bit of extra zing, you can even add a bit of red wine vinegar if you don't want to have any alcohol in your meal. So now we're gonna let this cook down just for a couple minutes. You want to scrape up all the delicious bacon bits, beef bits that's kind of stuck to the bottom of your cast iron pot. I'm gonna cook these down. The sugar in the stout is really gonna help bring out those beef flavors. Traditionally, Irish stew, I think, was made with mutton or lamb, which you can 100% use as well. But I chose to use beef today because they had nice stewing beef from Lufa available this week. So I always like to kind of plan my menus around what they have at Lufa Farms because this avoids us going out for groceries, especially during a pandemic. Amazing! Look at how pretty everything looks. And again, smelling good too. So, now we're gonna add the 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Okay, we're gonna return our meat with all its juices back in the pan. In the pot, sorry. So the bacon, the beef. Give that a mix. Okay. There we go. And then we're gonna pour the beef broth. Just give it a bit of shake because there's a lot of good collagen goodness in here, so it gets a little bit chunky. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a little bit more water, give it a bit of a shake in this jar to basically coat all the flavors and add them in just to make sure that all my vegetables and my meat are covered. Then we're gonna bring it up to a simmer, and then once it's simmering, we're gonna lower the heat, cover it, and let it cook for about 2 hours on the stove. Then we're gonna serve it up. Thanks again for coming. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe below. We'll see you next time on Cooking with Nat.